Okay, it's 11 a.m. And we could start, and we can start, of course, with another Younium webinar. And this time we are going into the topic of how good subscription management will increase your revenue and streamline your operations. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, of course, for taking time to be with us in another Younium webinar. And I'm really happy and very interested that we will share with you the latest insights on the subscription management. But not only that, we will also go and touch upon something that is currently affecting every one of us, and that's the current situation in the world and how it is reflecting in the SaaS, and how the SaaS is actually standing now in the current world crisis, let's call it. We have the inflation, we have the climate crisis, pandemic. It's maybe over in some ways, but still we can feel the the outcomes of it in the current state. Okay, but before we deep dive into the webinar, let me also introduce the team who is behind today's webinar here at Younium. So we have Linda as our chat host. And Linda will manage our chat today. What we prepared for you and what we would like is also that you take something out of today's webinar with you. So we will share with you a couple of good blogs, a couple of insights what we have that you can take with you after the webinar. And maybe, Linda, you can say also hi to our audience today.
Yes, of course. So hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Looking forward.
So this is a good way that you also keep an eye on the chat box. So there we will share a couple of links as said, and also please be engaged with it, and please also share some comments and share some thoughts what you have on the current topic. We have also Martin with us. He is a co-founder of Younium, and he will be our main presenter for today. And I'm also really happy to introduce Esther. She's our expert, and in the end of the webinar, she will showcase a case for us. And I'm super looking forward to see this case and to see also the subscription management solutions, let's call it in action. And Esther, maybe you can also say hi to our audience.
Hi, everyone.
Cool. I only didn't give the torch to Martin, but Martin, you will have the floor in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me also just say the couple of housekeeping points of today's webinar. So we reserved 50 minutes for it. We will also have the Q&A part, what will be at the end of the webinar, but feel free to send over questions already when you feel about it, of course. We will have 2 polls. And also we are recording the webinar. So we will send you the recording in a couple of days. Okay, I think that's that. Martin, the floor is yours. And I think that you can also say now hi to our audience as well.
Yeah, hi the audience. Really nice to be here. I'm looking forward to this. We have prepared a little bit and we have an agenda for today. I hope to share some tools and some advice for you going forward, but I will do a little bit of a reflection as well upon the economy. So this is the agenda we set for today, and it's basically 3 parts. The first part is a little bit about subscription management and how you can position yourself in what kind of business you are in and your kind of business. The second part is a little bit about the economy. The ground is shifting. It sounds dramatic, but let's do a few reflections upon the economy, where we are right now and where we're heading. And then the third part is I would say some of the key takeaways here is, how could you affect your business? What could you do in your business practically right now, in the short term, but also a little bit long-term perspective, and partly to mitigate the economy as it is tonight, but also partly what is good practice for the future. Not only depending on the economy right now. So let's get started. 3 blocks roughly, and let's go through them together. So first off, let's set some basic arena to play on. So I will talk a little bit about the difference between some sort of basic subscription management and a little bit more advanced subscription management. Just mentioning here is nothing wrong with either of. It's just giving you a few tools for you to position yourself in this world. This is my kind of business, or this is my kind of business, and how it works in that sense. So if you start off in this end, you, me, and everybody else has maybe a Netflix or a Spotify account, and a simple subscription or basic subscription in our world, in our terms, is a subscription where you might choose, an annual or a monthly payment. You register your details, maybe enter a credit card, and then you're up and running. It's very similar to what we buy as consumers in that sense. That is what we say a basic subscription business, and it could be a great business, but the subscription conditions are basic, and there are not so many special terms in that. But the reality for many B2B companies that utilize a subscription-based commercial model, or maybe a hybrid between subscription and something else, one-off or perpetual licensing or something. But the reality for many of the B2B companies out there is that not all customers want to pay with credit card. It could also be impossible if you have, too high amount. It could be really hard to pay by credit card. We have or might have sales that do negotiations with our clients or prospects, and it could both affect the pricing, of course, and discount, special pricing, but also the terms, right? So some contracts are longer, some contracts are shorter. Some clients, I have a new client the other day, and they say, okay, by cash flow reasons, we would like to have a more, not pay so much in advance, etc., etc. So our sales reps will negotiate the contracts, and that may leave us with different contract terms for different clients. Not the case if we talk about Spotify. That is the case for B2B business often. We also might have like partners selling our service or an external parties, and that complicates things a little bit. At the same time, when we grow our B2B business, we will have like the legacy customers, or the really old, the nice customers that have been around for a long time, and they might have some special pricing or the old price model. And then we have the new customers who has the newest price models, etc., etc. And then finally, our service is usually not one. It's not just a one service. It could be different modules. It could be portfolios of offerings. And our customers are utilizing our service in many different ways. Some are utilizing much of these, and others are utilizing much of another thing. So we created this very simple framework for you to decide, okay, where is my business in this space? So we have a few, like 4 key questions. So the first one, do all customers has the same price and terms? Remember, not only price and terms, or all customers, on the other hand, has a totally unique pricing and term structure. And everybody's somewhere on this scale, left or right. But, for example, you could be in this space where the blue dot is. The second part is, how often does the subscription change? And yet another example here, I think I signed up for my Spotify account like 15 years ago. I don't know if it's changed so many times, maybe 2 or 3 times during these 15 years or what, 16 years maybe. On the other hand, so this subscription never changed, or it changed very often. It could be upsell, it could be cross-sell, a downgrade, we add a module, we add users or something. So this is another scale. The third scale, you can say, who is the buyer? Is the user the buyer, or is the buyer a company or a group of company or something else? Meaning that the buyer is not the user. And that's something that shifts between B2B and B2C, and the big difference. And then the last one. Now, the service you sell, is it a static service or a service that changes very rapidly? Different products, different modules, add-ons, variants, etc. Depending on where you are here, we would call this space, as you see in the shaded area here, advanced subscription business. And if you are in advanced subscription business, that's the same space that we are acting. If you are in the other space, that's nothing wrong. And there are still a few takeaways from this webinar, but Younium and we are acting in the advanced subscription space. So I think we have our first poll coming up. Is that correct?
Yeah, indeed. So let us kick off the first poll of today's webinar, where we will see, based on the previous slide. Okay, let me just live it. Okay, based on the previous slide, how would you classify your own subscriptions and subscription business? Are you in the basic? Are you in the mixed? Or are you maybe in the advanced? It was a really good overview what Martin gave us. So we could see a very good example. So if you have the Spotify, I tried also to recall, yeah, they never did the changes. So basically it's always the same, the same subscription what you have with the Spotify. But in in the advanced area or in the SaaS in B2B area, you have the changes quite often. Okay, let me give a couple of minutes more so to land a couple of more answers here. Okay, and share the results. So basically the majority say that they are in the advanced area, so this is really good. We have also a couple of saying that they are in the basic, and we don't have anyone in today's webinar who is in the mixed area. Maybe Martin, you can give us a bit of a comment on this results what we have in from the first poll.
Yeah, I would say part of this, for both basic and advanced, the mega trends or the business outlook for where we're heading right now, are they similar for non-regarding on what business model you utilize. However, so I think there are a few takeaways later down in this presentation as well. But that said, for sure, we are better serving the advanced B2B subscription management than the basic one for us, Younium, for our solution. But I think this is how it looks. Some are running basic mix and some are more advanced.
Yeah, indeed. And we will also then cover during the webinar how you actually can grow the revenue with the advanced scenario. This is something what we are very interested in. Yes. Cool. Thank you, everyone.
Like this. So now I will focus on the advanced part a little bit more. So what is the advanced subscription management for us, or B2B advanced subscription management? I have 2 slides on that, so just bear with me. I'll run through them. So traditional sales orders, like when we're selling services or hardware, or maybe we stem from a perpetual business model, is kind of linear in that sense, that linear and sequential, that we have a quotation process, we order, we have a confirmation, fulfillment, and invoice and payment. And also, we have a kind of classic setup on that, meaning that we have a CRM, maybe we have an ERP system, and that's the basic connection, because they are the ones who are built for that kind of business. However, if we look into the advanced B2B subscription management, especially the more subscription-based economy, it gets more complicated. Of course, we have new businesses there as well, but then in the subscription terms, we might have many different specialities. Is it auto renewal or not? We have might have milestone-based billing or ramp up price deals. We might have a combination with usage-based pricing, and we can also have many concurrent subscriptions. From time to time, we need flexible billing cycles. Something we bill monthly or quarterly or yearly in advance. And we might have some usage fee that we bill in arrear as something is being consumed, and we might have tiered pricing or volume-based pricing. But we not only have this new business event that drive our business. We have a few others. We have a upsell event when a client increase the usage of the use of our service. It could be a number of users. It could be upgrade to another price plan. It could be to add a module or to increase the usage of some consumption-based parameters. But of course, then we have a downsell. We might, as I mentioned, have milestone-based deals and accounts. But then we have the most important event, a renewal. The whole subscription economy is based on that clients renew, and we don't have so much churn, and we have a kind of high retention rate on our customers. The challenge for us in subscription-based economy is that all these events might drive different invoices and cash flow streams, meaning that, a new business, of course, we might want to invoice our client, but also we might want to invoice our client or get paid from a client for upsell. Also, we might be in a credit line that goes out for a downsell, and renewal. Renewal might be driven by nothing more than that the agreement is to be renewed at this time, and that might drive a new invoicing cycle, so to speak. And another challenge we have is that the revenue is often not 100% aligned with the cash flow we have, especially if we invoice our clients in advance for more than 1 month. Then the revenue, we get the cash flow today, we get the ACV today, and then ARR, so to speak, but the revenue comes over time. This gets more complicated if we talk about both credit and debit, and et cetera, et cetera. But that leads us to the conclusion that we can't stick to the classical solution full anymore, because there are more things that influence our business. So of course we are not totally objective speaking for Younium, but you need something else that is purpose built for this kind of business. And just looking at the picture up here on the blue one there, you can see, okay, these kinds of events, you don't find them natively in a CRM or in an ERP. You need to do some heavy customizations or do something else. So yeah, the landscape has changed. And just looking at the system landscape doesn't give us enough indication. We need to look a little bit about the process that lies around the subscription process as well. So some closely associated workflows around a subscription lifecycle, as you can see here, where you have the initial order, usage, invoicing, payment, but also changes. This is the typical cyclic appearance of a subscription. In time, you might want to or need to give some refunds or credit invoices. I mean, if you have prepaid a basic plan or upgrading to an advanced plan, then you might need to credit the prepaid basic plan and debit the advanced plan. Sales commission, partner commission. What are you giving away to sales and to partners? Are you giving away a sales commission on the recurring fee? That's good, yeah. On the one-off fee, yeah, maybe. But how do you differentiate recurring fees from one-off fees to usage-based fees, and how do you regulate that towards partner and your sales staff? Provision your service. How do you do that in an efficient way? But also self-service. I think the mega trend is very clear that you let the customer itself utilize the service as much as they want. So kind of self-service, they can buy, expand, or contract the service within your service, maybe without even speaking to sales. There are a few, I will come back to these later on as a tips and tricks as well, but how do you handle your renewal opportunities? Are you just renewing your contracts, or is there an upsell opportunity within the renewal opportunity? Index uplifts, price raise, that's really important. Do you have that in your agreements? If you have that, how do you realize that revenue? But also the full product lifecycle. How do you phase in new products or phase in new packages of your product? And you might need to launch another price model, but the offer is kind of similar to what you had before. But how do you keep a new offer at the same time as you have your legacy offers to your old workhorse customers that you love so much? Then the final end goal is reporting, internal reporting, external reporting, what if analysis and forecasting. How do you do that? Of course, you want to report to maybe your board or a CFO or your owners, but also report to your own crew, to your own operation. How could they measure success and see what state the business is in? So these two pictures, this is what we are focusing on, advanced B2B subscription management. We can talk more about that, but I would like to move on to, let's look at the economy. Where are we heading now? So I said the ground is shifting, right? So it is, of course, we have the terrible war in Ukraine. We can't talk enough about that. But in parallel with the war in Ukraine, we are living now in a post-COVID world, and I don't know which will affect us the most in the long run, the post-COVID effects or the war. Both were kind of terrible. Ukraine is still ongoing. On top of that, right now, we have like a soaring oil and food prices. I think they are still rising. I would guess that we have somewhat kind of overheated economies at the same time, because all the banks has pushed in so much money and funding in the economy to keep them going during COVID. And then we had the inflation ghost, or whatever we call it, is coming around. Inflation is running now. So I stole this picture from SaaS there in Barcelona the other day. But what we can see here, that the market capitalization in the SaaS market or the SaaS and tech market has been kind of heavily a strong downturn and heavily adjusted. I would say it might be a healthy adjustment. I don't know, maybe. But for sure, we can say there are many finance guys. I mean, VCs now out there that's kind of nervous. And that's what we see in the figures the last, 4 months or so, 6 months maybe. On the other hand, I would like to turn it around a little bit. So what is fueling the SaaS economy? What is fueling the SaaS and tech economy? I would say is many factors. It's the transformation from going from homework to from working at the office to homework, but also for digital transformation. We have one strong correlation towards what the annual public cloud growth. So we can see if cloud computing grows, that will affect SaaS economy heavily. So just looking at the three big ones here: Amazon, Azure, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. They have been and are still in heavy growth. What we can see here is an average 48% year-to-year growth on these ones. Amazon is growing a little bit slower now because they are the dominant one, so 34%, but Azure is still growing roughly about 50% a year. So this is two perspectives I want to bring to this meeting. So the stock market, the VCs, those guys and girls, right? And on the other hand, where are the investments going and still going? So Jason Lemkin, he is the founder of SaaStr, and is one, I think he's kind of an interesting guy to listen to. He said, so if you're looking for an excuse why you're not hitting the numbers or you're growing as planned, look at the right. Nobody can deny you that truth that, okay, that the economy is shaking and therefore we're not selling or whatever, doing as much as we should do. But if you believe, on the other hand, that you have a good product market fit and you have a right team and the right processes, the market, then you should look at the left-hand side. The market is still out there, is growing, has been growing 40+% per year on a year-to-year basis, but it will continue to grow. The forecasts say roughly in this size at least. So the fundamentals of the SaaS economy, cloud computing, will continue to grow. So you can choose your picture here. I choose a little bit more the left-hand side, but I'm keeping an eye on the right-hand side. I think we have another poll coming up. Could that be so?
Yes, indeed, and that's connected with your ground shifting slide and observations here. Really good and very interesting information and very interesting data what you shared with us. And we could also kick another poll connected to it. So do you see the shift in your business? Yes, we see a slowdown for H1. It is according to expectations. No, we see an acceleration for H1. So let's give a couple of more seconds for some other answers to drip in. Okay, and we will share the results. So basically, according to what you said, Martin, to us as well now, it is according to the expectations. So there is, by the audience, what we have in today's webinar, of course, we don't see the slowdown, but actually the growth is there by the expectation.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I would say, okay, so everybody's seeing, we don't have any significant changes. I read it right now. But let's keep an eye on the economy ourselves. We don't see a big change as well, but I think it's interesting to see how it goes. But we shouldn't sit passive in this boat together. We should act upon it. So let's move on a little bit. I have a few more slides on the ground is shifting focus. So let's look at this. And this is another one I stole. I steal everything I do. No, but I stole this from SaaS Nordic. I think it was a webinar they had the other day. It was a good graph. It's from Daniel. This is showing the median ARR multiple of closed deals, meaning that the companies in SaaS space looking for funds, they usually could be evaluated for a multiple of the ARR. And we can see here back in the last summer, 1 year back, they were up peaking on 16 times the ARR. But now for a year, it has been going down a little bit. So it's roughly around 8 right now. That means that the valuation of, here it comes. The valuation has dropped, meaning that if you are looking for new funds or someone is looking for new funds, they will have a less valued company in that sense. I strongly believe the money is still there, the funds are still there, but they are more expensive if you need them. And roughly the price has doubled for each dollar you need to bring into your company if you're looking for funds. If you're 100% bootstrapped, on the other hand, yeah, good for you. Then this will not affect you equally much, but still you might have some see something on the market as we go along. Another person who said the general cloud transformation, I think it was from Microsoft or from Google, this one, but general transformation, or this one is from Credit Suisse, but it was in correlation to Google or Microsoft. The general transformation continues. So in that sense, big companies, we ourselves are not selling to super big companies, medium-sized, but big companies are moving forward on a multi-year strategy to convert their cloud-first strategy. That is still ongoing and increasing. And for many companies, the pandemic has exposed the shortcomings, it says, of relying on legacy on-premise applications and IT operations. I think this will drive the economy very strongly. We have so much legacy out there. It's schools, it's hospitals, it's public companies as well. So I think there's an underlying megatrend that drives the increasing cloud computing, as we could see in the numbers as well from Amazon and Microsoft and Google. So what are the implications for us in SaaS? And I said SaaS here and something else as a service, and SaaS and tech industry maybe. Yeah, for sure. Spend might temporarily go down. I believe that the competition will get a little bit tougher. And it will get tougher for two reasons. One reason is that it might be a little bit downturn, or there will be a downturn in economy, right? A little bit less deals out there to take. But also, many companies are moving up to the SaaS space. So we'll be more crowded up here where we are right now. So the competition will get tougher. And for sure, funding costs more. And when funding costs more, that will affect companies in different ways. If you are hyper funded, that will for sure affect you. If you are bootstrapped, yeah, less effect, right? But if you're somewhere in between, you might have some effect. So I think we need to look upon this. And I have a few high level advices here. I think everybody that's not 100% bootstrapped should look for access to capital. What are your burn rates? What are your runaway? Somebody talked about, what is your longevity? When do you need more money? Do you need to adjust your cost suit to the access to capital? I'm in sales, so I'm really keen on looking on the growth as well. So how do we grow? Do we grow efficiently, right? In that sense, and you can measure that in many different ways. The CAC LTV ratio. I personally love the SaaS magic number, meaning that, what is the dollar payback time? If we invest like $1,000 in sales, how long time do we have until sales add another $1,000 in ACV to our business? But how we need to look at our growth efficiency in these times. Then we might need to ask ourselves the growth versus profitability ratio. So I think in the long run, it has been a little bit twisted here, but everybody only talk about growth. The profitability comes later. It might be here that we should be able to show that this part of the business is profitable. This part is not, but this part. So how could we measure different part of the business and see how profitable is it, or how far from profitable is it? And then initiatives, of course, what kind of initiatives should we or could we take with these frames, and how are they changing? And so that's a little bit of the ground is shifting reasoning we have in this, and going back a little bit more to more practical things. So talking about subscription management, or manage your revenue, manage how do you bill your clients. In the early days, we talk about, a manual process, ad hoc handling, solve billing, how to get the money in, some automation, maybe decrease the manual workload. But we didn't have so much transparency in the business. And moving along here and getting more and more mature businesses, we need to see, okay, how do we manage our contracts? The investors, the VCs want to see the contract stock for sure. Could we manage the subscriptions in a somewhat automated way? What do we have? Maybe we have an entry-level CRM or ERP here, but we also start measuring our ACV, MRR, ARR, net retention, customer acquisition cost, etc. a little bit more. But this is not the end game for us. We need to move along to this and be even better. So I would like to say that the more important part for our business in the long run is how could we grow our revenue? Of course, we can sell more, but how can we grow our revenue in different ways? Grow our revenue by selling more, grow our revenue by getting some of our customers to pay more, and some shouldn't pay more, right? So moving to a process that is more proactive, where we have 100% transparency in our business, in our full business, and one source of truth, where we can experiment with different commercial models, maybe have different commercial models running at the same time for the same product. And I think talking about value-based pricing and differentiated pricing a little bit more and different customer tiers, I think that's really valuable for the future. Finally, the end game, and I would say we ourselves is not fully there, but we're heading there. I'm really looking forward to have a look, turn the spotlight away from the only focus on the revenue model, but talking about the world-class customer experience. How do we get the customer to feel that we have a great customer journey when they buy our service, when they onboard our service, when they pay for our service, they get the invoice and say, yay, an invoice or something, right? Upgrading, renewing, price uplift, etc. How do we get the world-class customer experience through all of the processes? So we have a few practical tips here, and in the end I have the summary toolkit for you. So this is some slides I borrowed from my colleague Walter the other day. So he talked about streamlined operations, and he said that, okay, so first off, the basics, you need a structured subscription data. You need to have a consolidated data in some part, and you need to have an automated flow, your quote to invoice flow, so you don't have too many manual process, but also so you have good data in that and not bad data. And then handling all your fees, not only have some fixed fee or some blunt pricing model, but also mixing up the fees with different usage-based fees, etc. Automate your billing, of course, that's streamlining as hell to automate it and don't have too many manual tasks. And then clear communication. And when we talk about clear communication, it's clear communication internally, but also to your clients. What are you billing for? So they know, as they say, they get a billing or they pay a credit card bill. They say, okay, I know exactly what I'm paying for. This is very clear communication. Yeah, there you have the webinar on the link. So automate the recurring billing. Try to implement some sort of usage-based billing as well, especially if you have a cost side on your consumption-based or usage-based for the text or for invoices or gigabytes or whatever you have for consumption-based parameters in your service. Make sure your billing is working fine for the one-off fees, etc. International tax compliances, so you don't need to spend time in the finance operations talking about, okay, what are the tax here, what it has. Make sure this is automatically. Mix product with different billing periods. That could be very efficient, and it also can close the gap from the experience value of your service to what they pay for. So some fees you can pay, I have a small fee here, you pay for 1 year in advance, but then you pay another fee as you consume our service. Then you close the gap and you get very much closer to the value of the service versus what they pay for the service. Support prorated pricing. I meet so many customers and so many companies out there, prospects that say, oh, we always start our terms the first every month. I know if they want another user and another module, let's start that later because it's more easy to manage. Why don't you start the service when the client starts to utilize the service? Prorated pricing. They start today, the 21st of June. Let them pay from the 21st of June instead of pay from the 1st of July. I think you should have in your Streamline, you have support for advanced pricing model that will make your business more aligned to the value of the service as well. So how could you increase your revenue? I got a really nice mail the other day from HubSpot. So we are clients of HubSpot. We are running HubSpot ourselves. We got this mail and they say, look at you grow. Congratulations. It's so nice to see you grow. And then they say, okay, you'll be upgraded to the next contact tier. And what does this mean? I don't know if you utilize HubSpot, but I can tell you, it means that I have tiers with number of contacts. So if you go above a certain ceiling, then you will be upgraded to the next tier and pay a higher amount for your HubSpot subscription in this case. I think this is a good way. There are other examples, look at you grow, This is nice, congratulations. Yeah, by the way, you will pay a little bit more for our service because now you are twice the size you were like 7 months ago or whatever it was. So I think this. So the basic part, fixed fee add-ons and seat users, don't get stuck here, seat-based fees or user-based fees. Try to look a little bit more like, could you implement price plans, tiered volume plans, and always, the smaller clients might not pay so much, but how could you make the bigger clients pay more? And also try to implement a fully value-driven pricing where you combine maybe a fixed fee, add-on fee with a tier volume-based fee. But for instance, do we have usage or consumption-based parameters? I can tell from our service ourselves, we invoice for e-invoices, and most of our clients send just a few a month, but then we have 1 or 2 outliers that send several thousand of e-invoices a month. They could gladly pay a little bit more to be able to send, this amount of invoices that they send. So to the end, so what do I think we should do in this economy? Yeah, we should look at streamlining our business. As I said, could we automate stuff? Could we automate the usage-based billing? Could we be clear in our communication? If we summarize this is the toolkit I would like to utilize, and we are partly doing it, but we could be better. But this is the toolkit I would really focus on making very clear pricing and contract terms. Review this, either you are there and have clear pricing and contract terms, or you see, okay, this is not good, we need to change it. It should include what are the expansion pricing when you quote to your customers, what are the uplift terms, what is included in the service and what is not included in the service. Better terms, more clear terms to your clients will lead to happier clients because the expectations is correct, but it will also lead to upsell opportunities. So look at your pricing and contract terms, make it more clear, make sure it's in writing. That will both lead to happier customers, but also increase revenue. Introduce price models that scale. Talking about HubSpot, remember that other picture I showed you? So what did they actually do when they upgrade? They didn't do anything. They gave away HubSpot almost for free to us when we were a startup. We paid almost nothing. And then when we grow, they say, you get all these features for free. When you grow, we will scale with your number of contacts in HubSpot. Not only that, we will scale with some features that you don't have in the starter package. For instance, we activate the forecast feature the other day, and then we pay more for that feature. But the product is already there. So they have a price model that scale when we grow, and we double our size again here last 7-8 months in company. Then we pay more for HubSpot. We don't pay the double for HubSpot, but we pay more. So introduce a price model that scale with the customer growth or the customer value or both, right? So it should be, I think that's really valuable to do that. Try to have differentiated pricing. You can do it in many different ways, but we have the small customers or the smaller customers, they should probably pay less. The value is less for them. But then you have the big customers, they could pay more because the value is greater. Then you have the outliers that have, they utilize your service in a very different way towards all the other customers. How do you have a pricing that works for all of these? So nobody could say, okay, I pay too much for my value, or I pay too less to my value. This will look at this. How do different pricing for the small clients, for the big clients, for the mid-sized clients, and also for the special clients that might use your service in a little bit different way that you were thinking they would from the beginning. This one is one of my favorite. Put upsell opportunity under customer control. So I've seen it a lot, not in our customers, but the potential clients I meet where you say, okay, we lock down this feature or we don't show it because they haven't paid for it. Let's turn it around a little bit and say, dear customer, here are all the features. Use the ones that you want to have or that you like to have and pay for them. If you don't want them, don't use them, don't pay for them. What if we can put the upsell opportunity under customer control? I want this feature. Yeah, you can activate it here. Remember, you will pay more if you activate it. That's really strong. It lessens the strength on our sales, but it also put the decision in the customer hand and will lead to happier customer in the long run, I think, but also less workload for you doing growth and in your customer plan. Make subscription data available for all this is maybe common knowledge, but not only for the board, not only for the CFO, not only for owners, but also for sales team, customer success team, the product team. Everybody should know where our customers are and heading at, because if everybody has good information within the organization, I like the saying that everybody should have almost all information that there is, because then everybody in your organization can make better decisions on a day-to-day basis. So make subscription data available for all in the company. That's really important. Realize contract price increase. This might be something counterintuitive. Okay, the economy is shaking a little bit. Should we raise the prices? Should we do an index uplift? I think you should. I think you should realize contracted price increase. If you have in your contract terms index uplift, you should run it now. If your customers churn because you raised the price 1.3%, that is not the reason why they churn. They churn for other reasons. Once again, Jason Lemkin had a great blog the other day. He says they don't churn for one singular reason, not the bigger ones at least. They churn for a series of reasons over a time. And many companies are afraid of utilizing what they have right to do in their contracts. And either it's an uplift or it's at renewal, you should say, okay, now you're on a different level, you should pay a little bit more. So I think realize contract and price increase. The last one I have here is, okay, if you're looking for funds, if you're speaking to VCs or business angels or whatever funds you're getting out there, keep your books in order. And when I talk about books, I don't mean the P&L or the accounting stuff only. The VC will look at your contracts. They will look at your ACV, your MRR growth, your ARR growth, or your churn, your net retention rates, etc. They might also look at your sales efficiency. Talking about SaaS magic number, how efficient are you in growth? So keep your books, all your books in order. Then you will get better access to funding, and you will not get a discount on your company, meaning that you don't get this 5% discount because you don't have your books in order. And if you talk about company valuation, a 10% discount to company valuation, it's a huge amount of money. So keep your books in order. These are the toolkit I would like to produce to you for this session. I think this is pretty much it I have for today regarding this. So I think we should move on. Is that?
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Martin, for really great indication of the economical trends in the SaaS industry as of now, and also regarding growth areas and how complex subscription management can get. And of course, the audience also for participating and engaging, of course. So to drive growth in B2B SaaS companies, there's a few keys to become really great at this topic. We have a few minutes left, so let's go through them shortly. Here are some hands-on insights as well as through how a customer of ours has increased their ARR through automation. Their business includes a SaaS service, so their core product is the platform, and it's bundled with a few other services. They are around 8 million euro ARR as of now, and they secured funding of more than 15 million euro last year. So there's a few reasons why they have opted for a subscription management system. First, eliminating free riding, and second, self-service. Third, massive admin, and fourth, removing several sources of truth. So when being a startup, this company was basically in search for a business model. They didn't know, or they didn't care naturally about the subscription management system at this stage. Then they started selling something very loosely defined. So there was something to keep track of. So therefore, sales created a spreadsheet to keep track of the subscriptions that they were selling. And 2 years later, they started to get some serious traction. This spreadsheet that sales had created needed to be fixed. So finance had to look over the spreadsheet as well to ensure that it made a little bit more sense. 1 year later, after that, they are now around 3.7 million euro ARR at this point. They actually try to solve the subscription management now. So quoting the customer, we added a module in our global ERP system. We added a contract renewal module to deal with all of the subscriptions. That turned out to be a huge failure and a lot of waste of time. After that, we went back to spreadsheets, but now we turned to very advanced spreadsheets instead, with more like data, customer, subscription invoice, everything was built into the spreadsheet basically. Then in 2020, with around 7.7 million ARR in euros, they started to say, we need a proper system. So then at that point, we procured a subscription management system and we implemented it, which was Younium. It took us basically 3 months to have it implemented and for it to be up and running. So today they're moving into new markets, more ARR, and also they've integrated a subscription management system with the core application. So with the SaaS platform, in order to deal with the self-service and also to bill the free riders for their company. So from this story, what can we learn? We can notice how the curve of growing revenue, including the centralization of managing subscriptions, has led to a sustainable customer experience for this company regarding their recurring SaaS service. So from our experience, some businesses, they choose to set the structure early on within their business. Others have already quite a high number of legacy contracts that they're taking with what Martin was also mentioning. So, and they're moving their contracts towards the subscription hub as well. And overall, we can see that subscription management definitely helps with gaining 100% correct numbers from the customer contracts and KPIs and so on. It comes in handy not only with the company evaluations, but also when it comes to measuring business performance in general and achieving absolute clarity on those SaaS KPIs. So that was a short highlight from my side. Handing back over to Avoye for the Q&A, I believe.
Thank you so much, Esther, and thank you so much, Martin, as well. Really insightful presentation and really great data to see, and especially this what Esther now mentioned, that if you and what you also said, Martin, with the toolkit, basically we could see it now in a real example of how Cognitive did it. They basically use your toolkit and tailor it together with the subscription management solution, how to increase the revenue and growth, and then streamline all of the operations. Linda has shared all of the articles and also the article to Cognitive blog, what Esther now showcased us. So if anyone is interested in, feel free to check out those blogs and also to check out the content. Before we deep dive into the Q&A part, let us also just introduce a bit of the Younium. So we are a SaaS company founded in Sweden in 2017. One of the co-founders is actually Martin. Currently, we have 4 offices, 1 in USA, 2 in Sweden, and then also in Netherlands. And here you can see a couple of our customers. We are, as you could see here, niched for B2B SaaS scenarios. And this is where we bring the most value, and these are the scenarios what we work most comfortably with. Okay, let's deep dive into the questions. Chat box or Q&A part of this webinar is open for any of your questions if you have, of course, any of those, and feel free to connect with Martin on his LinkedIn. Linda also shared that one with you. So yeah, the floor is open for questions. Okay, and we have the first one coming in, Martin. What system do Younium connect with? Does Younium connect with?
Yeah, so we have a strategy of connecting to cloud-based CRMs and ERPs and finance systems and also some payment gateways. So you can look at our homepage. We have I think it's kind of a comprehensive there, but we connect for HubSpot, as we spoke, with Salesforce, Dynamics for sales and customer engagement, but also kind of a few of the big finance platforms, Xero, QuickBooks, NetSuite, etc. And then we also have a connector to Stripe and TaxJar. So we connect to a few billing and payment gateways, but then CRMs and financial platforms.
Yeah, and also, yeah, you can check all of that on our website. There is also one more question, and this is about commonly used price model. So what is the most commonly used price model that we at Younium see?
Yeah, so I would say that most of the companies we meet are moving to some sort of price, have some sort of price plan in the base. most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And but also what I see, which I like, is that they combine the price plans with some sort of usage or overage based fees. For instance, you know, the starter plans includes up to 5 users or something, right? Or up to 5 something or 10. And then you have the next plan, and that includes a little bit more. And the reason why I think is good is that the outliers could pay a little bit more. But price plan in the base is very commonly used, but it's also more and more used with, you know, some fees are paid in advance and some fees are measured and might be billed in arrears as they are consumed. But price plan is one of the fundamentals, I would say, that is gaining momentum as I see it. It's also in advanced B2B.
Interesting. And we have 1 minute more, but also one more question. So let's take that one because it's very interesting. It's very connected also to one of your slides and one of the topics what you covered today. Are all of Younium clients very positive about the economy as we are?
And that's a hard question. I don't know. So I'm in sales, so I'm kind of positive, but I would see we haven't seen it yet, the effects from what I hear from the clients I speak to. They really haven't seen the effect yet, but everybody's looking a little bit about the economy. So the big question is, will SaaS and tech industry come out of this untouched, or how much will we be touched? I don't know. It's a hard question to answer, but I think everybody's looking at the economy, but still businesses seems to go on kind of good, I would say. So, from what I'm saying, but I'm positive.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you also, Esther, Linda, and Martin, for the great presentation and great webinar. We will send the recording after, so in a couple of days. To everyone, also, if you would like the presentation, feel free to reach out to us, and we will also send you the presentation via email. For those of you who are in the Nordics, I would like to say Happy Midsummer. I don't know, Martin, if I said this correctly, but I will just say it then in English. And for everyone else, have a nice summer and, of course, nice rest during the summer break. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.